One, two, three. Hey guys, welcome again to Empire Universe, and it is episode 21. With this one, I'm doing kind of a solo podcast again, and I'm probably going to be covering most of the UFC 241 card that's on tonight. The pay per view is on at 10, uh, prelims are on at 8. So check it out. It's gonna be a sweet card. I have the whole thing up here right now, and as much as there's some names I don't know in particular, which I'll get to, uh, it's looking like a pretty good card. So I'm not gonna do the whole. I'm not gonna do the whole card. I'm just gonna kind of go through some of the names that I recognize, and as much as I'm a hardcore fan, they always have some guys on there that I'm not the most familiar with, just because I missed some cards here and there, and they might have been on those cards. So it happens, and I think that a couple of these guys were on the Contender series, so bear with me on that. So with a prelim card, I'll just go right to the bantamweight fight. Rafael Assunção versus Corey Sandhagen. I think that's gonna be a great fight. Um, I can't really say who's gonna win that fight. They're both really really good. Corey's been looking pretty good lately, so that one will be very hard to decide. I would go with Rafael Assunção, but just because he's a bigger name, I don't know. He's been in the top five for a long time, and he's even if you go back to UFC 200, I think he was ranked one or two or something like that, and that's when he fought Dillashaw and Dillashaw beat him. I think it was UFC 200. But yeah, so you have that, and then Devonte Smith and Kama Worthy. I guess Dana White said it was going to be a good fight, so I'm going to take his word on it. But how can you take Dana White's word on things sometimes? So yeah, you got that, and then you get to the main fight or the main card. Sorry. So you got like middleweight Derek Brunson and Ian Heinisch. I don't know a lot about Ian Heinisch. I don't know much about Heinisch, but I know Derek Brunson. He's been having a bit of a slope lately. I know he got the win over uh, Ontario native Elias Theodoro, but even that wasn't very much. It wasn't like a beatdown. It wasn't a knockdown, or it wasn't a knockout, or really a beatdown. It was really, I don't know. It wasn't very convincing win to get him back into the top five kind of field. But I mean, we'll see how he does. I mean, he's a good wrestler. If I'm thinking about the same guy, but if it is that guy I'm thinking of, because I don't know much about Derek Brunson, to be honest with you. But what I do know is he's had a bit of bad luck. Like he got knocked out or TKO'd by um, he's fighting for the middleweight title. I'll come back to it. Israel Adesanya, that's who it was. He got knocked out by him. He's had a problem. He had a problem with um, crocodile guy. Frick. This is my problem. I'm too obsessed. I'm too obsessed with so much UFC, and there's so many fighters nowadays, and there's so many cards playing that there's so many guys out there that are men and female fighters that I have to keep on tops with, and it's just too much. Um, but yeah, uh, Jesus, I can't remember his name now. Got such a brain fart here. But anyway, he got knocked out by a couple times by a couple guys. I think he did knock out Leo Machida a while back, but that was kind of a while back now. So he's had a bit of a rough run, but I mean, anybody can win a fight, and that's how the fight business goes. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Then you got in featherweight Gabriel Benitez and Sodik Yusuf. Now, I'm not so much familiar with the first guy, but Sodik Yusuf, I'm just going to call him Yusuf because I'm not getting the first name right. I'm fucking up right now. That's my fuck up. So Yusuf, I think he was the guy on the Contender Series. If I'm wrong, if I am wrong, then I'm sorry. But I think he was on the Contender Series. He looked great. I'm excited to watch him fight. Unfortunately, I'm not. I'm excited, but I'm not gonna be able to watch him fight because I gotta work until 11, so I'm probably gonna miss that fight. So here's where the holy shit moment comes up. So you got middleweight, Yoel Romero and Paulo Costa. So I was talking to a few people at the gym, and I was like, so, you're a UFC fan, right? And the one guy's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was like, okay. So who do you think is gonna win with Yoel Romero and Paulo Costa? And he's like, well, wait, who's Paulo Costa? So I get it. I mean, he's not like he's a new guy, but as much as he's had freaking, I think every single win he's had, it was a knockout. It's crazy. The guy's ripped. The guy's jacked. He's had so many allegations against him regarding steroids and stuff like that. And same with Romero. Like those guys, their bodies like they have bodybuilder bodies, and for fighting and UFC and whatnot. Not usually do you find that a lot because you're more working endurance, cardio, your fighting ability than how your body looks. Like most UFC fighters are in good shape for the most part. Like I mean, you could look back to like Chuck Liddell, who honestly to this day I still think was not in good shape whatsoever for being a fighter. But I mean, probably in better shape than most 40-year-olds down my street. I can tell you that. But yeah, anyway, going back to the Romero and Costa fight, I think it's a tough fight. I know Romero can take a hit. However, how is it going to be with Paul Costa? Um, I didn't really predict any of the other fights other than who I think is going to win. But with Romero and Costa, Romero has fought in, I know 2 5-round fights. He's gone the distance twice. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I think he has. Now Romero, he will get stunned. He's vulnerable just like anybody else. And Costa, he's got some power, but so is Romero. But also Romero's got that wrestling too, so I could kind of see him throwing that in the mix. Um, it's really hard to say with this fight. I want to kind of say both guys will win this certain way. If I had to say both guys would win, Costa knockout, he would have to knock the guy out. I don't really know his wrestling ability, and but I mean we'll see. With Romero, I kind of see this where he's either gonna get knocked out bad, or he's going to either go the distance with him and win all 3 rounds, or like win 2 out of 3 rounds, or he's going to knock out Paulo Costa and either knock him out with something crazy he's got to shoot out there, or I think for sure he's going to use his wrestling. He's going to have to. He knows the stakes too, right? And he knows the stakes with Paulo Costa. He knows he's a tough guy. I'm sure he's a tough guy, and he hits hard, so he's going to want to avoid that. And I mean, we'll see how Yoel Romero is. He's had some success. He lost with Whitaker twice, but he knocked out Rockhold, which I mean, I I was glad to see that. Um, so, I mean, at 42, 43 years old, I mean, goddamn, he's looking good. So, we'll see how he does. I, as much as, Costa is a lot younger by a large margin, I don't know how this fight's going to go. It's a really, really tough fight. A lot of people are going with Costa, a lot of people are going with Romero. So I think it's a bit of a 50-50. It's pretty fair. But I would have to go with with Romero. I got to go with him. And I get welterweight Anthony Pettis and Nate Diaz. This is a fight I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be able to see. Um, so I'm really really excited because not only am I excited about the fight happening, that I actually gonna will be able to go see it. Um, but the welterweight, yeah. So you got Anthony Pettis and Nate Diaz. This fight is kind of interesting because, and I'm just gonna call it how I see it. but Anthony Pettis hasn't had the best run in a while. And I know, he's a legend of the sport, but he went through some. He's been through some crazy fights. Like just starting off, he had a fight with when he would drop down to featherweight. God, he better never go back down to featherweight. He looked deadly. Um, but he had a win there, and then he went and he fought Holloway, which was not a good idea. Holloway, finished him, I think, third or fourth round. He went up back to lightweight, I think, and he's maybe had one win there and maybe a loss or two losses there. Um, and then he had a fight with Ferguson, which I don't blame him. He got fucked up in that fight, and I don't blame him with Ferguson. I mean, that Ferguson's a fucking good fighter. But same there, he lost that fight there, and then he went up to welterweight, and he knocked out Wonderboy, which was incredible because it looked like he could have lost that fight. I mean, Wonderboy was screwing him up, but he did that Superman punch and he got him. I'm actually kind of surprised that Wonderboy got knocked out. I mean, that was pretty freaking crazy. So I don't know. I mean, with Anthony Pettis, he's been having a bit of like a win loss, win loss, win loss kind of thing going on there. So I don't know. But we'll see. And then you got Nate Diaz, who hasn't been fighting a lot lately. It's been crazy. Everybody's wanting to see him come back after he had the two fights with McGregor. I think with Diaz, the reason why I'm going to say Diaz is going to win, I'm not saying there's a chance he can get knocked out. Absolutely, anybody can get knocked out. But the Diaz bros, man, like Connor was fucking him up. And even Connor couldn't finish him. Now, mind you, Connor knocked him down a few times and could have won down ground and pound, but that was kind of a risk that McGregor wasn't going to take. So with that, I mean, I don't blame him for trying to get out, or that he didn't want to get on the ground with him. So we never really know how that fight could have turned out. McGregor could have won on him, ground and pound, could have won the fight by TKO or KO, whatever. It could have happened, but I mean, in terms of like a straight knockout, I don't think Anthony Pettis is gonna do it. He's. I mean, it's just like McGregor. They both walk around that same weight, I think. So for Pettis, it's not like he's humongous or he's not a humongous guy. Like, I mean, Nate Diaz is about probably walking around 180 maybe. So he's got probably a little bit of that weight advantage for sure. Um, so we'll see with Nate Diaz. But now the thing with Nate Diaz I gotta find though is that yeah, like I said, he can take a hit, uh, and not only can he take a hit, he will just keep fucking coming. If you don't knock the guy out, if you don't kill the guy, he will come after you. And the thing with Nate Diaz, I wouldn't say he's a one-hit knockout artist. No, absolutely not. He will stun you, and he made McGregor look like not human, or he made McGregor look human again. And I mean, there's a lot of mixed. I think there's a lot of mixed comments for sure about McGregor and his fighting IQ and ability. But with Nate, I think that one, he's going to come back. Do I think that he has a lot of motivation? I don't think so. For sure he's going to want to get paid. And this fight was probably something that probably, intrigued him, didn't want to come back for sure. And I think that I think he has that motivation there, but in terms of motivation to get the belt, it's not it's not really the same as like with Cowboy, like Donald Cerrone. With him, I mean, once he got back in lightweight, he's like, hey, I mean, I want to try to go for another title run, and he was so close. I think that if he beat Ferguson, he probably would have got the next shot after once Khabib and Poirier go at it, he would get the next shot absolutely. But now it's gonna be Ferguson. So with him, he had a son. That was his motivation. He didn't want to give up. He wanted to do it for the family, for his son, um, and yeah, for sure. And I think that That was his motivation, and you could see a lot of motivation through other fighters too. But with Nate Diaz, he just comes in and after a long layup, like what is it that it makes him want to come back? I think it's just the money. He knows that he wants to make more money, and he doesn't. I think with him, he knows with risk and everything, he doesn't want to keep taking just like he doesn't want to have to be on a fight night and fighting someone that isn't going to make him as much money because of course I think that he's become a huge star like Nate Diaz like 4 years ago yeah he was a big star but he wasn't Conor McGregor level and now after those two fights with McGregor man I mean his stock went right up now it's probably lowered a little bit because of him being late he was off for a little bit. But now with him coming back, I mean, like almost every single comment that I've seen about this card, everybody's like, "Oh, the Diaz and Pettis fight. That's what's making this card worthwhile buying and all that." So, excuse me. I think that with Diaz, he has so much more of that momentum. And I mean, I saw the wins yesterday after work, and Pettis was getting booed, and that's bad. That's really bad. I really thought that Diaz would get bad, or I thought that Diaz would get booed really bad because I mean, when you look at Diaz, he comes off as that like ignorant kind of attitude, but that's just Diaz, like that's who he is. And whoops, sorry, that's a freaking fly or whatever it was. It was annoying the hell out of me. It kept getting in my face and shit. Yeah, so with this fight, as the fight goes on, I think Diaz is gonna piece or is gonna really break Pettis apart during the fight. I think he's gonna knock him out or go the distance and win like 2 or 3 rounds. First round is probably the most dangerous with Pettis. He's gonna do flashy shit. And then after that, Diaz is gonna run him down and just start pounding him. He's got great boxing. He's good on the ground. So is Pettis, but he's great on the ground. He's got great jiu-jitsu. So I'm gonna go with Diaz. Third round TKO. Going with it right now. I think that's what's gonna happen. All right, so main fucking event. So you get heavyweight Daniel Cormier and Stipe Miocic. All right, so with this fight, this is a really really hard one to decide too. Stipe is a beast. Cormier is a beast at heavyweight. He's never lost a fight at heavyweight. The thing is, DC can get knocked out. We've seen it. Jones got him a great head kick. I mean, that was just great. Right time, right place, right moment, everything. That was great. Part because he kept kicking DC lower, and then he did the change up and then made him think that he was going to throw it low and then threw it high. That's how he caught DC. I mean, of course, DC, I don't think he's ever been knocked out cold, but he's capable of getting stunned. So I mean, anything's possible in this fight, and that's how I'm saying it. Anything is fucking possible in an MMA fight. Now, if you get like if you're looking at boxing and you have someone like Floyd Mayweather fighting amateur boxer, most likely amateur boxer is not going to win. I mean, anybody has a chance, but if you look at something like boxing, where it's a little bit more rigged and a little bit more, in my opinion, bullshit. Yeah, I mean that's kind of you're pretty much guaranteed to win a fight if you're Floyd Mayweather fighting a nobody. Um, but yeah, going back to this fight, it's really hard to decide. I'm going to go with my man DC, not because I think 100% he's going to win no matter what. Because he's my fighter. As much as him the history with him and with John Jones, I gotta go with DC, man. Gotta go with him. He's amazing. He's awesome. And yeah, I just love DC. So we'll see how that fight goes. And I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, all of these fights are all interesting. There could be a lot of upsets tonight. It's happened. It has a lot of a lot of the favorites have lost. It can happen. So, well, we'll see what happens, and we'll go from there. But this fight's going to be good. This is one of the cards that is really going to bring everybody back because the last couple cards haven't been the best. Like my girl, Shevchenko. I mean, not my girl, but she's like pretty much my favorite female UFC fighter. She defended her belt last weekend. I think she did an amazing job. Played it safe. Probably wasn't the most exciting fight, but if you understand how fighting kind of works, and if you understand the mechanics and the fight IQ, you understand why fighters fight the way they do. Like if you had someone like DC, like Daniel Cormier, his last fight with, or I guess it was with, or no, it wasn't. It wasn't with. No, it wasn't with Stipe. He had a title defense against Derek Lewis. That fight, there was no fucking way that he was going to stand and trade with that guy. There was no way. He had to take him down. A lot of people give him criticism for being kind of boring sometimes, for, you know, you know, uh, you know, taking guys' backs and making it boring, laying on people on the ground. But I mean, as a fighter's perspective, of course he doesn't want to win, or doesn't want to win. Yeah, he wants to win. I mean, he doesn't want to lose. He doesn't want to get knocked out. As much as like these fighters want to entertain, there's sometimes where you got to do what you got to do. And once the casual fans understand that, then everyone's gonna be on board and be like, oh, okay, I understand why he played that fight. Smart fight. Uh, yeah, I mean, it doesn't help if the whole card is shit or if the whole card turned out really, really bad. I'm not saying fighters are shitty, but like if the fights turned out really shitty or really, really boring, it was a snooze fest. I get it. I get the backlash, and I get the anger from fans that oh it's boring, I fell asleep. I get it. I get it, but you gotta look at it as understanding the sport standpoint. And I was just looking at the next event next weekend. It's I think it's in China, somewhere in China. Yeah, Shenzhen, China. Excuse me. So like that main fight, to be honest with you, I'm not really looking too forward to. Excuse me. I'm not really looking forward to this card. The only fight I will watch is Jessica Andrade and Weili Zhang, and maybe Li Jingliang versus Dos Santos, or like Elizeo Zaliki Dos Santos. That's only two fights I would watch, but I probably won't be able to watch them because they're getting on when I'm in bed or something. I don't know. But with Jessica Andrade, I think she'll win that fight, no problem. But I wouldn't sleep on Zhang either. But I think Andrade has this fight. Well, okay. UFC 242. That's another card I'm looking forward to. I don't know. I don't know how this fight's gonna go. This is a really, really hard fight. I know it's kind of talking about just UFC 241, but I thought I'd just do a couple of these other cards because I kind of really rolled through that one card. And I want to get it on this because if I was going to keep doing a podcast if I was doing a podcast for every single card that was coming up, it'd just be too much. So I just figured I might just do a couple of these all together. So this one's in Abu Dhabi. So this fight, I mean, a lot of fighters on here. To be honest, I'm not really looking too forward to seeing fight. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really looking forward to seeing this fight. Um, it's crazy. Now there is a fellow Canadian fighting on this card, but what really kind of gets me because this is kind of I think it's more of a Muslim. I'm not. I'm not even. Maybe I shouldn't say anymore. I'm gonna dig myself more of a hole here. But I believe it's more like a very heavy populated Muslim state, and that's why Khabib's fighting there. That's what I'm assuming. Now, I don't know a whole lot about like women and Muslim and being a Muslim, but I know that you have to like cover yourself. So it'll be really interesting with the females fighting on here, if they just have to say, well, if you guys don't like it, you don't fucking come to the fights. I don't know if that's what it's gonna be like. I don't know. But we'll see. I mean, I guess we got another Canadian fighter fighting on the early prelims. So Nordine Taleb, which actually fought a local guy here, Cal Prepaplek. I'll never get his last name right. I'm so sorry, dude, if you're gonna listen. But he fought him, and then so now he's fighting here. So we'll see how he does. Um, so I mean, you get the main card, Khabib Nurmagomedov, and then Dustin Poirier. That'll be a great fight. I can't decide who's really gonna win that fight because Dustin does get tired, but he still has power when he's tired. It's kind of really confusing. And you saw that in the Holloway fight, and that's what won him the fight there, and he did great against Holloway, Max fucking Holloway. So like we'll see how that fight goes, and then you got Edson Barboza and Paul Felder. I'm gonna say right now, I think Edson Barboza has a lot to lose it from this fight if he does lose. So he's gonna really bring it for this fight. He's probably gonna use a lot of his head or his leg kicks. Um, but we'll see. I mean, Paul Felder's tough too. I mean, he fought last fight with like one collapsed lung, so we'll see what happens with that fight. Paul Felder is strong. I'm gonna go with Paul Felder on this fight. Edson Barboza hasn't been looking good lately. I don't know if it's not so much him not looking good, or it's just all the guys are figuring him out. And I think that's a problem. Is everyone's figuring out his style, and now everyone's beating him. But look at Khabib. I thought he was gonna fuck Khabib up. No, Khabib took him down and said, "Here, bitch, you stay down," and he just pounded him the whole fight. So we'll see with that. Islam Makayev versus Davy Ramos. Islam, I think he's going to win the fight. No problem. Curtis Blades and Shamil Bardagbek. That's one way to say it. Curtis Blades, I think I go with him. He's more the, he got clipped good by Francis Ngannou in his last fight, but I think I can see him win this fight. He's got a lot to gain. In the last fight, I can't even say the name. It's probably one of Khabib's buddies, but him and Carlos Diego Ferreira. I'm gonna go with Diego. I'm gonna go with him. So yeah, I'm gonna go with him. Let me see. And then you got some of these other guys are fighting. Oh shoot! I just scrolled down there. I didn't see Joanne Calderwood down there. Okay, so she's on the early fight pass as well. Joanne Calderwood and Andrea Lee. I know Andrea Lee. I heard of her name. I think that's the one that's like the female cowboy. I don't know Joanne Calderwood though. She's kind of looked good, but not looked good. I don't know. I mean, flyweight could be her home. We'll see. But I think I'm gonna go with Andrea Lee. I don't know a whole lot about her, but I've seen her. Have I seen her fight? I've just seen like the highlights, or I've seen like the stats of her fights. I'm gonna go with her on that one. And I think there's a women's bantamweight, Liana Jejuna and Sarah Moras. I'm gonna go with Sarah Moras. Cheesecake. I mean, just because she's Canadian. Seriously, that's why. That's the only reason why. And then I was just talking with this guy last week, or just earlier this week. Kyle Perlek, he's fighting in Vancouver. UFC Fight Night, Cerrone versus Gaethje. I'm really excited to see him fight. I love seeing the local guys fight, so good luck, man. And there's a couple other Canadian guys on here too, so I'm looking forward to that. You got a bunch of other guys up here. I'm not gonna go through everybody. Donald Cerrone and Justin Gaethje. I think Donald Cerrone's gonna pull this one off, and that's it. And I think that's everything, guys. I covered pretty much 241 and a couple of the other cards. Guys, I love the support. I am still selling shirts. I can make more. Just send me a DM on the Instagram page. and I'll get to you as fast as I can. And just let me know what your excuse me, let me know your size. Um, I will be coming out with a new design soon. I know it's kind of boring, but it's my actual design. The Empire Universe has been the design for a while. So if you want that one, great. You want to see a new design, let me know in the comments. And because I am going to be making a new design, so having people give me more of that motivation to make design one would be great. And thanks for listening, guys. Tune out. See you guys later.